Shannon, do you like what LeBron said?
I do. I love what he said. And basically, Skip, he's saying, look, teams will always say, we're doing what's in the best interest of the team. We're trying to get better. We're playing younger guys. We want to take a look at these guys because we feel this is going to help us in the future. Well, when guys want to ask for a trade, they want to do what's in the best interest of them. They want to say, you know what, right now you don't have what it takes to help me win a championship, so I want to move elsewhere. But then he get labeled selfish. With LeBron James, he watched them burn his number. He watched that happen. Did that happen, Skip? Yes or no?
Okay, but why did it happen?
It doesn't matter. See, there you go. Now you offering the reason why. Why are they sending Andre Drummond?
Okay, remember, LeBron left Cleveland the first time without a peep of gratitude, like, I love you people.
Skip, you don't know anything.
It was cold-blooded.
Yeah.
It was the decision.
You see?
I'm taking my talents to South Beach. And it left all those great Cavalier fans just feeling empty, like he betrayed us.
What you did was confirm what LeBron said, the narrative and how the team paints it. If you leave us, you're selfish. You don't give a damn about the fans. Team trade players, we care about you so much, we're trying to get someone better. All you just did was confirm what LeBron and Draymond had been saying. He owed it. LeBron don't owe it to the fans to tell them his next business move. Hell, Steve in accounting didn't tell us that he was leaving Fox and going somewhere else.
Did he owe it to his owner just to give him a phone call and say, hey, thanks, but I'm out?
Skip, he owed it to his owner, says, look, I need you to put players around me in order for me to help me win championships so I can stay. When that didn't happen, LeBron left. LeBron and Draymond are basically saying teams will always do what's in the best interest of teams. They trade players, they release players because they feel that's in the best interest of the team. But when a player wants to do what's in the best interest of themselves, all of a sudden they're cancers. All of a sudden they're selfish. All of a sudden they're malcontents. They didn't handle it properly. Okay, all he's saying is that if you have the ability to trade me, if you want to feel like you can get someone better or better increase your chances of winning, I want to have that same freedom. I want to have that luxury when I want to leave to go somewhere else that presents a better opportunity for me to win. That's all they're saying. But somehow the fans don't understand that. And he says the league have done a great job of putting that narrative out there. We do what's in the best interest of the team. Players only do what's in the best interest of themselves. Well, the team is of its, the owners, they're doing this what's in the best interest of you. Not in the best. What about me? I'm a part of the team, so you don't care about my interests, only your self-serving interests. So I agree with LeBron for signing this. I saw it last night. I was like, okay, yeah, I agree with you, bro. I put some emojis and some fire emojis also. I agree with Draymond. The narrative is if a player asks for a trade, he's being selfish, he's being ungrateful. But I forgot, once you get $200, $300 million, just shut up and just play basketball. You shouldn't have anything to complain about.
Okay. I got a lot to say about this because I am completely lost on what Draymond said, number one, and what LeBron co-signed last night, number two. It may have something to do with the fact that LeBron and Draymond are business partners and uninterrupted, and LeBron has switched over to be a clutch client. So maybe LeBron thought, I got to have my teammates back here a little bit. I've got to validate. I've got to endorse what he said.
Every time someone agrees with someone, you can't think there's an ulterior motive.
Okay, all right. So now, just to be clear about the decision, I was one who stood up on my old show on ESPN the day it happened, and I said, good for LeBron, I'm all for you. He did not handle it very well, PR-wise, which shocked me because he is the PR king. And I think Maverick Carter, who's the brains of that operation, would like that one to do over. That would be a do-over because it just came across so cold-blooded that he just left Cleveland high and dry. That was my only issue with it. But the fact that he played out his option, he was a done deal. He was a free agent. And he chose to join forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and Pat Riley in South Beach. I am 1,000% great with that. And to LeBron's credit, when he has moved, he has always had the right to move because he was a free agent.
Oh, really had the right to move. So why did burn the jerseys?
Well, I just explained it to you. He handled it miserably. Those people had been all for him. They had lived and died for him. He was their own from Akron, just down the road from Cleveland. You know and I know he completely blew it. And I think they would admit that now, but that's not what we're talking about. I want everybody out there to understand that LeBron James, the face of the league, just co-signed Draymond Green saying it is just fine if a star is under contract to a basketball team for that star to quit or pout his way out of town if he is unhappy. And they all do it, and they get away with it, and nobody says anything about it. Nobody condemned James Harden for it. Everybody said, well, that's just the way it works in the NBA because the players run the league. They have their freedom, even against contract. I have a contract, and by God, I honor my contract. I think you would honor your contract. I don't try to quit my way out of here. I don't try to pout my way out of here. And this is a shame that LeBron James is endorsing this kind of behavior. And let me run down the list of what we've seen. James Harden flat out got fat and quit his way out of Houston. Nobody disagrees with that. Anthony Davis pouted for a whole year to get out from under his deal in New Orleans. How about my man Kawhi Leonard? He just quit his way with some quote-unquote tendinosis of the quad all year. He just shut down and would not play for my Spurs.
Good, like it.
Yeah, you love it. And how about Kyrie? He got sick and tired of LeBron James, and he told Dan Gilbert, get me out of here. And Dan said, okay, where do you want to go? How about Boston?
Right.
Does that work? How about Paul George? He gets word, Kawhi's landing with the Clippers. Nobody knows this. He's not going to LeBron. He's going to the Clippers. And what did Paul George do? He went to Sam Presti and say, I'm sorry, I want out. And Sam Presti said the next day, well, I didn't want him pouting for a whole year, so I said, okay, let's do a deal with the Clippers to get him out. So all these players, Russell Westbrook last year said, I've had enough of James Harden. Okay, where would you like? How about Washington? Will that work? Yeah, I'd love that. I'll go play with Bradley Beal. Jimmy Butler in Minnesota. I can't take these silly kids. Just get me out of here. Get me someplace where how about, let me go. Okay, so we have one after another just quit or pout or basically just stand up and say no to an owner, like, I'm gone. And they're all under contract. And that's the way this league works. And do you love that? Does LeBron love that? Does Draymond love that?
You see, the players are under contract and should not ask for a trade. But the same player can be up under contract, and you can sit him down until you find a new suitable home for him.
Okay, look. It's collectively bargained. Yes, the owners have the right to trade you. So why didn't LeBron James, the last time the deal came up, why didn't he take a stand as the leader of the players? I know Chris Paul's the leader.
He's one guy, Skip.
Okay,
he's one guy.
Take a stand and say no. Tell everybody, tell your rank and file players, we're going to have to sit out a whole year. You're going to be without a paycheck for a whole year because we are going to collective bargain that you cannot be traded.
LeBron James will always do what's in the best interest of everybody. Sure, LeBron James could miss a whole year. LeBron James make more money off the court than on the court, so he can miss that. But there are other guys that don't have that luxury. All I'm saying is this: if you have that energy and you're fine with the team being able to sit a healthy player and trade him, you shouldn't have a problem with a healthy player saying, you know what, I don't want to play here anymore. I'll put me somewhere where I can go win.
Okay, so how can I get all worked up and feel huge pity for an Andre Drummond who makes $28.8 million?
Stop basing everything on money.
Okay, but he is very well paid for what he does. He has led the league in rebounding 4 times. He is now 0-8 in playoff games. He's playing for the 3rd worst team in the Eastern Conference, the Cavaliers. And as J.B. Bickerstaff, their coach, said the other day, he said, I have a ton of respect for Andre as a human being and a basketball player. We always want to do right by our guys. Well, it leaked out because we have some of the most crack reporters that we've ever had.
Ain't nobody leak it out, Skip. You can't get no information out unless somebody tells you.
Okay,
can't leak that.
When you start trying to shop a player, when multiple teams get involved, then Woj at ESPN or Shams is going to get a hold of it. And once it gets out there, the team that you're playing for is screwed because what can they do? They're not trying to mistreat you. They're not trying to oppress you. They're not trying to humiliate you. They're just stuck. And when a trade is imminent, they want to shelve the player so he does not get hurt and blow up the trade.
Guess what happened? Players go behind the scenes. Anthony Davis was behind the scenes telling Dale Demps he wanted to be traded. Dale Demps leaked that information. James Harden was behind the scene telling Houston he did not want. He wanted to get out of there so bad. You keep mentioning Andre Drummond, $28 million. James Harden turned down a 2-year, $102 million extension because he wanted out. Houston leaked it to make him look bad. When they want to make you look bad, they leak said information.
Didn't James make himself look pretty bad? Weren't you sitting here day after day saying he's fat?
Skip.
Wasn't he quitting his way out of town?
Skip, what I said about James Harden, and I stand by, he handled it unprofessional. I had no problems with him wanting to move on because he felt somewhere gave him a better opportunity. I talked about how he handled that situation, not that he wanted out.
Okay, so think about this. The last 2 NBA championships have been won because a player quit his way out of town or powdered his way out of town. But think about it. Did not Kawhi go to Toronto because he quit his way out of my town, San Antonio?
The man had tendinosis.
Okay, but he did. That was the classiest organization, the Patriots of the NBA. And Kawhi Leonard said, hell with them. I got to get out of here. I don't like it here. I don't like Coach Pop. I got a contract. I got it, but let me go.
Skip, you know it was more to it than that. The man was hurt, and you guys didn't believe the extent of his injury. And so what you had them do is they called a team meeting. They put Kawhi on the hot seat. And Tony Parker opened his big mouth and said he had an injury 1,000 times worse than Kawhi.
He had a ruptured quadriceps.
Skip.
Ruptured versus some tendonitis.
The one thing one should not do is tell someone else their pain in which they're feeling.
All right, but everybody agreed Kawhi was done with the Spurs, so he just shut it down.
Skip, I don't believe Kawhi would have been done with the Spurs if y'all had just left him alone and stopped trying to put him on the hot seat.
But the point was, he forced his way out. They shipped him to Toronto, and Toronto benefited by winning a championship. And I'm not sure Toronto will ever win another one.
Probably
but they got one.
They got one.
And Anthony Davis pouted his way out of town, and now everybody involved with the Pelicans says we should have just let him go the first time around when it first broke.
Yeah.
When Rich Paul just flat out publicly demanded a trade, right?
Well, because they had requested this behind the scenes. And Dale Demps wouldn't do it because he's like, oh, AD having such a great time. You look at AD numbers. Did AD quit? AD was 29 and 13 and 2.
He was pouty the whole year, and they said it was a bad year. It was a lost year for them because his heart was not in playing for the Pelicans. Well, what happened? Thanks to that, LeBron won a championship last year. So that's 2 in a row. And guess what? We could have 3 in a row. If James Harden and company win this year's championship, that would be 3 straight times that a player quit or powdered his way out of a situation under contract and went somewhere and won a championship.
What about the Cavaliers quitting on Drummond? They quit on him.
Okay, how do you figure they quit on him?
Because they won't play
think about it.
He held
Okay, they got Jared Allen in trade, and he is their future. So what would Andre Drummond rather do? Would he rather play 5 or 6 minutes a night for the Cavaliers?
I'd rather play my allotted minutes.
Okay, well, the allotted just fell to 5 or 6 minutes. They're playing Jared Allen 35, 40 minutes a night.
Because you're trying to move on. Hold on. Did you not know you had Andre Drummond? When did you realize you had Andre Drummond on your roster? Was it before or after you traded for Jared Allen?
Okay, well, they upgraded. They got a younger, better player.
Okay.
Who's better, Jared Allen or Andre Drummond? I'll take Jared Allen.
Skip, Jared Allen, look, until Jared Allen leads the league in rebound, until Jared Allen makes an all-star team, come back, visit me when he makes an all-star team.
I'll take him right now, and they're saying we are going forward with Jared Allen. So all of a sudden, Andre Drummond is not being docked his check. He gets his money every night.
Well, let me ask you a question. Was James Harden docked his check? James Harden dropped 44 and 17. James Harden dropped 33 and 15. James Harden was playing unbelievable. So what's the problem?
Okay, but then he was quit. His own teammates trashed him.
Yeah.
What did John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins say? He quit.
They trashed him because he trashed them first, saying we don't have enough. And when they lost to got blown out by the Lakers.
So how much pity do you really feel for an Andre Drummond who has never won a playoff game and is now on the cusp of going to a contender where he might play, I don't know, 25 or 30 minutes a night and have a chance to win some playoff games?
The Cleveland Cavaliers knew Andre Drummond had not won a playoff series. Cleveland Cavaliers knew all of this, but still yet they traded for it. Now, all of a sudden, we want to get younger, we want to get better, so we're going to bench Andre Drummond. So guess what? James Harden says, you know what? I've done all I could here. I want to go somewhere where I can win a championship. Now trade me. So what's the difference?
What do you mean, what's the difference? I mean, it's like an apple and an orange. It's completely different.
And they both go in fruit trades.
Okay. So what are you talking about?
I'm talking, see, Skip, what I'm talking about, you said because he signed the contract, the team also entered into that contract. As long as you make money, you make it $150 million, because you keep bringing up, Andre Drummond has made $136 million.
I didn't bring it up, but you just
yesterday.
did.
He should be content with that. Guys making $200 million, that's besides the point.
No, he should be content with the prospect of going to a contender,
Skip,
unless he doesn't care about winning.
Skip, I want to play basketball. I am a player, and you're interfering with my minutes. You're interfering. I'm a free agent.
They're already done. You're done. When they got Jared Allen, they said, you are finished. You're going to be at the end of our bench.
Skip,
5-6 minutes a night.
This only happened within the last week, because I watched them against the Lakers get 25 and 22.
Okay, but it happened, and it's over and done. You're out.
Okay.
So why wouldn't you want to go somewhere? And to get there, you're going to have to take a few nights off, because it has now leaked by somebody who knew what was going on in the media. The media is really good at what the media does. So all of a sudden, Cleveland's on the hot seat like, well, we can't play him, or we could just tell him to go ahead and suit up, and you're going to play 0 minutes.
Well, that's what James Harden.
That would be mistreating. That would be disrespectful.
Well, James Harden was dogging it, because he says, if I get hurt, I'm not going to get my trade to get up out of here. So what's the difference?
You're under contract, James Harden?
Andre Drummond is under contract.
Okay. Shannon Sharpe, who has the right to trade players by collective bargaining? Every owner in this league does.
Yes.
If you don't like it, fix it. LeBron, fix it.
They did.
Go do it.
Go
to war.
Guess what James Harden did?
Go to war.
No, we don't need to.
Do the owners have the right?
Owners have the right.
Okay.
But
so is that wrong? Is the right or wrong?
Does the players have the right? Say, you know what? You're right. You have the power. This is your team. But I'm going to shut it down and make you get me up out of here. Okay.
So you're saying you're going to dishonor your contract.
I love it.
Did you sign the contract yourself? Did somebody hold a gun to your head to sign that contract?
The owner signed it.
Do you enforce that contract? And they are all guaranteed.
Yes.
Are you going to enforce that contract with your ownership? No matter what happens to you, even if you get hurt, are you going to get your millions?
I want to play. I signed this contract to play. And all of a sudden, you no longer want me. So guess what? When I signed the contract to play, and when I no longer feel that you present me an opportunity to win a championship, I want out. I want out.
So you endorse that?
I endorse.
Really? Huh.
Well, I put my name on it, and I stamped it with my thumb.
Is that what you want to happen in the NFL now? Any player that's unhappy, if they have 3 or 4 years left on their deal, they should say, I quit.
Yep.
I will not play.
Hold on. Skip, first of all, the NFL, Skip, they cut players with 3-4 years left on their contract anyway. So I absolutely would love that.
Well, I'm just saying, we're trying to describe the NBA players as oppressed.
No.
I think they have 10 times the power that NFL players do.
I totally agree, Skip. I think what we're disagreeing on is that you saying you signed the contract, and if a team wants to move in a different direction from said player, they should be allowed to set the player down until they find either they buy him out or they trade him. I'm saying if a player wants to go somewhere else, he should be afforded that same right. Get him up out of there.
He has that right. It's called free agency.
No.
You have to play your way out of your contract.
So why not let Andre Drummond finish up? He's a free agent at the end of the year. So why not let him fulfill his obligation?
Okay, because they have the right to trade him.
Okay,
and it was signed off on by LeBron and Chris Paul, and all the top players said you have the right.
And I have the right, even though it's not collectively bargained, I have the right as a superstar player to shut it down until you get me up out of here. And that's why you see it. Superstar players can shut it down, and they always get what they want. So I'm for that.
Well, they have been getting what they want for years in this league, right?
2 thumbs up.
All the way back to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, won a championship in Milwaukee, and he is from New York via UCLA and Los Angeles, and he said, I can't take it here anymore. Get me out of here. And they said, okay. Where do you want to go? How about the Lakers?
Actually, Skip, no, he didn't want to go to the Lakers at first. He wanted to go to the Knicks.
Okay,
and
but
the Knicks failed
that's a nice second option, right? Because he went to school at UCLA for the great John Wooden.
Right. He wanted to go back home, but for whatever the reason,
the rest is NBA history.
Yes.
Okay, final question. I always throw this back across the table because I am open and open-minded to this.
Yes.
Is it possible there's some racial undertone operating here because we have a league that is about 75% African-American players versus owners who there's only one black owner that I'm aware of, and that's the one in Charlotte. Happy birthday, Michael, right?
You got a minority owner in Sacramento, I think.
Yes, you do. Okay, but is that the undertone here? Is that what is pushing Draymond's button and then, in effect, LeBron's button?
I think a part of that, Skip, but like you said, they're not oppressed. This is not slavery. Slaves didn't get paid. You have the right. But I think the players are saying, if you have the right to sit us, buy us out and says, okay, I want to move on in a different direction, I should have, the players believe they should have the same right. If they don't feel the team presents them an opportunity to win, they feel they should have the same right to come to you and say, you know what, I don't think I can win here. I would really appreciate it if you move me somewhere where I can.
Okay. And all these little instances of players like Harrison Barnes one time got tapped on the shoulder while he's on the bench. You're traded.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how to fix that because the reporters are so good at what they do.
Right.
It gets leaked. When you get multiple teams involved, it will get leaked. And all of a sudden, the team's like, the trade's not even official yet, but we got to notify Harrison.
Right.
He's not with us anymore.
Right.
Okay? I don't know how to fix that little loophole of a leak.
That actually happened to me. I was going to get traded to Green Bay on a Tuesday, but I played in the game against the Raiders that Sunday, and guess what happened? I broke my collarbone.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's a reason you shouldn't be playing in the game, right?
So that actually happened, Skip. And so had they not let me play in the game, but we were 0-for at that time. We were 0-for, and we obviously Mike wanted to win the game, and I broke my collarbone like in I think the third quarter, and the trade never happened.
Wait, and you're going to miss the playoffs?
Yeah, we started. That was in '99, the year after we had won back-to-back Super Bowl. John had retired. TD had just tore his knee up the week before, and so we're going to the Raiders. And I'm going to get traded. That too, the trade I'm going to get traded Monday or Tuesday.
How did you know?
You know, Lil Birdie told me.
Lil
Birdie. Like you said, the reporters are really good at
They're
what they
really
do.
good. Maybe that was an Adam Schefter report because he was covering the Broncos.
He was covering the Broncos at the time.
And you could have followed in your brother's footsteps in Green Bay.
Yep, I could have.
Wow, what could have been? That's really interesting. That got you guys a little heated over there. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.